Hello, welcome back to my channel, Panda Crochet. Today I want to teach how to do granny squares. If you are just learning, then this is a good first blanket to do. And it's pretty simple. You could do it any way you want. There's pictures you can look online and you can see different ways you could do it, certain color patterns you could do it. But I'm just going to teach you the simple granny square, and if you know how to make one, then you know how to make an entire blanket. You can make a whole bunch of different size squares, or just keep continuing off of the one square. So today what I'm going to be using my K hook, or 6.5. You can use any hook you want. Just remember the size of your hook will determine how big your square is going to be. So if you want, you get a pack of these. You can use smaller hooks, make a smaller square, bigger hooks to make a bigger square. But today I'm going to be using my K hook. Now for my yarn, I always like to use the Red Heart Super Saver. You can use any brand you want. You can use a chunky yarn. You can use a thin yarn. You can do whatever you want with this pattern, which is fun. So today I'm going to be using this fun little colors here just to give it a little, make it pretty. But I also do have my white here so I can show you how to switch colors in it if you want your granny squares to have different colors instead of using the same yarn. I was going to write out a written pattern of this to go along with the video, but I didn't have time to, so I will, in the next few days, I will make a short YouTube video on that to go with this one. So let's get started. So there are two different ways you can start your granny square. You can either start with a chain 4 and then slip stitch, or you can use a magic circle. I will show you both real quick. I'll start with the magic circle because I'm going to go off of the chain 4 because generally that's a pretty simpler, easier way for beginners. But if you would like to do the magic circle, which would cause your granny square in the middle, the hole in the middle, to be a lot tighter if you want to. But anyway, you want to parallel your strings, and there's many different ways to do this. Find the way that makes you comfortable. This is the way I've found to be the way I like it. So I make mine parallel and then I twist it, and then you want to go through and you want to grab the short string and just pull it through. And I've had a video, my last video, working in rounds. I teach how to work inside a magic circle, so if you'd like a more depth video on that, then I would suggest to go watch that. So with that though, just a short, if somebody wants to work with this, you just kind of go in and you pull through, and then you start your rounds, which I will be showing what rounds are. Okay, so if you're going to do the chain 4 and slip stitch, we're going to do it basically the same way. You parallel, twist, but this time you're going to grab the long string that is hooked to your ball of yarn and pull it through. Alright, stick the hole in your hook and tighten it up, but not too tight. So you want to be able to still have it go through with ease. And now we're going to do a chain 4. If you don't know how to do chains, I will show real quick how to do it, but I do have another video that shows in depth how to do it. Alright, so just wrap around, pull through. 1, 2, and 3. So there is our chain 4. So what we're going to do is going to this first chain here. If you can see that, see where your knot is? You want to go through just like that. You can go through just one of the stitches. I like to go through 2 because I feel like it makes it stronger, but there's no wrong way to do it. And you're just going to pull it through and then pull it through. This is called a slip stitch. Just slip stitch it. Alright, so if you have your magic circle, you don't have to do any of this. You just start with this round that we're about to do here. which now we're going to do is a chain 2. So wrap around or yarn around, pull through, that's 1, wrap around, pull through 2. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing double crochets. So to do double, you wrap around, and it's going to be kind of hard to see, but there's a hole in the middle of your chain there. You kind of move it apart, you can kind of see. And what you're going to do is stick the end of your hook and push it through that hole. It's okay if it's not perfectly in the middle, just do your best to get it in there. And so you're going to wrap around and you're going to pull it through just like so. And so now we have 3 loops on our hook. Now you're going to wrap around, pull through 2. Now we have 2 loops. Wrap around, pull through 2. Now what we have here is our chain 2 and 1 double crochet. But we do the chains to get our work to go the height we want it. I do have a video explaining that, about how heights work and how to determine how many chains up you need to go depending on your stitch. But I like to do 2 when it comes to double crochet. Some people like to do 3. It's really up to what makes you feel more comfortable. But anyway, the chain is going to count as a double crochet. So technically we have 2 double crochets here, and in the pattern for a granny square you're going to be doing groups of 3. So that means we got 1, 2, we need to add 1 more. So wrap around, go through that very same hole. We're going to be working in that same spot this entire row. So just go in there, stick it through, wrap around, pull through. Wrap around, pull through 2, wrap around, pull through 2. Good job. So now we have 3 double crochets. Now we're going to do a chain 3. So wrap around, go 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to do 3 more double crochets in that same hole. So wrap around, go through that hole, pull through 2, pull through 2. So now we do 2 more double crochets, so let's do those. Go through 2, go through 2, so that is 2 double crochets. Wrap around, go through, pull, go through 2, go through 2. So now we're going to do our repeat rounds, which means we're going to do the chain 3 again, and then 3 double crochets, and we're going to do it until we have 4 of these 3 clusters here. So that means we got to do it 2 more times. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3. So now we got a group, 3 groups of double crochets. So we need 1 more. So chain 1, 2, 3. And then remember, going in that same hole still. Do 3 more double crochets. Just like that. And then that's 2, so I'll do 3. And then we're going to end it with, you guessed it, our 3 chains. So let's do 1, 2, 3. So now we're at the beginning of our project again. As you can see, it's looking like a square. If yours doesn't, then just undo it. Practice makes perfect. Just keep doing it. It took me a long time to be able to get my stitches even and to look nice. First time I did granny squares, it wasn't pretty. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a slip stitch. What I do is I find my first 2 stitches, and I find the top stitch that is in between them on the top. A lot of people in their videos, they say count your, 1, 2, and then go in there, but I find that kind of confusing. So I just kind of find the 2 and then go in the top one, and makes it easier for me to make sure that I'm going into the right stitch, because at first I'd go in this stitch or I'd go in this stitch and it would be uneven. So just find your first 2 and then get that top one that's in between. See how it's in between it? And you want to go through both. Make sure you go through both of them. And then you're just going to pull through just as so, and then just pull through, slip stitch. So now we have our first round. So there are 2 different ways you can do this next one. You can slip stitch into this chain, which basically means you're going to go into this next stitch here, pull through, and then go just into the chain, and then pull through, and then go on to your next row. Or you can go the other route. Oops, pulled it all the way out. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, let's push that back through. Or you can do, I do it different ways depending on the color yarn I'm doing or the pattern I'm doing. Now, if you want to switch colors, this, where you want this, the middle one to be one color and then the next one to be another color, you can. I will teach how to do that in the next row. I do want to continue with this yarn in this row for right now, but when we go to the 3rd row, I will switch colors so you will know how to personally do that. But anyway, on to the next row. We're going to chain our 2, and I'm just going to turn my work, because we are not going to be working in these top stitches up here. We're going to do all of these 3 clusters in every single chain. You'll be working in chains. So you either want to slip stitch to this chain, or you want to just turn it so you can start working in this chain. It's really up to how you would like to do it. It's really just a personal preference. So now what we're going to do in this chain here is we're going to do 3 double crochets in this chain. Just go through it, just so. Now it gets a lot easier at this point because now you're not working in stitches, you're working in chains, but you do need to make sure that you are counting your stitches and your chains, because if you're off, it can make your project kind of uneven or woppy, but it just comes with practice. Okay, so let's do our double. So remember that chain counts as a double crochet, so now that is 2 double crochets and 3. So now we're going to do our chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now from now on, the only time you are going to do a chain 3 is when you're doing a corner, which will make more sense once we get to the next round. It'll make a little more sense. But when you're on the corner of your granny squares, you are always going to be doing the same thing. You're going to do a 3 doubles, a chain of 3, and then you're going to do 3 doubles again in that same chain space is what it's called. So that's 1, 2, oops, and 3. So as you can see, it makes that next corner. Now, whenever you're doing the straight sides, what you're going to be doing is just two chains. And that will make it straight. The 3 makes it a corner, 2 makes it straight. And so now what we're going to do is the same thing, but on this very next one. So you're going to skip all these stitches. Remember, we're not going to be working in stitches anymore. We're going to be working in only chain spaces. So, unless you're slip stitching, of course. So go in the chain space and just do 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. See how that the 2 makes it straight, and see how it is curved here because of the 3. And now we're on a corner piece, so we're going to do 3. It might be a little confusing at first, but once it gets bigger, the more you do it, the more it comes natural, of course. And just practice makes perfect. Remember, in those corner spaces, you will always do twice in it, in the same one. So 1, 2, 3. You always do the 3 clusters twice. Well, they're not called clusters. The 3 double crochets to make it curved, to make it a square. So now we're in a straight part, so we're going to chain 2 and then work our 3 doubles in the next chain space. So 1, 2, 3. And if I'm going too fast or you're getting a little confused, you can pause the video, you can rewind it. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section. If you would like me to explain something in more detail, of course, put it in the comment section. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to teach people how to crochet, as you can see. I mean, you know that you're here. So, anyway, let's do a chain 3, because we're on a corner. 1, 2, 3. And remember, in those corner pieces, you're going to do 2 things of 3 double crochets. So that's 1, that's 2, 3. And then on flat pieces, you're going to do 1, 2, which will be kind of hard at first to try to remember where you're going to do the chain 2 and chain 3. Just remember, you will always do a chain 2 when you're going across a cluster. So you're going across these 3 here, you're doing a chain 2. Here you're not going across, you're going with a chain. I don't know if that makes sense or if that helps somebody, kind of helps them, but you always do a chain 2 when you're going across. Like, see, we always do a chain 2 when you're going across these 3 stitches here. Here it's above a chain. I don't know if that helps or not. Hopefully it will. Alright, so one more time. So, oops. Do 3 doubles in that 3 chain space in the corner. So 1, 2, and 3. And then since it's a corner and we're in a chain space, we're going to make a new chain. 3 chains, so 1, 2, 3, and then once again 1, 2, 3, and now we're at the beginning again, and since it's a straight side and we're going across the 3 double crochets on the bottom row, we are going to do a chain 2. So remember, find those first two stitches and get that stitch in between them on top. Push through both, pull through, then pull through. So it's got a little square there. Sorry about the color changes. I thought it'd just be fun to use this. So I'm going to teach you how to change colors. So if you want to change colors, you could snip it. There are 2 different ways you can add your new color. I will show both real quick. You can just pull this all the way through, pull the string all the way through just like that. Grab your new piece and create a slip knot, which is what we showed at the beginning, the parallel, the turn. You pull through your long string and you just tighten it. Then you just stick it through just as so, and then you can go into any chain spot you want. You can go in this one or this one. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to go in this one, and then you just slip stitch it, and now you have your new color. Now the other way This is typically the way how I personally switch colors. So I don't know, I like it better. So what you do, hold on, let me undo this real quick. Oh, sorry guys. Let me do that. Double edge just undid. So what I do is I do chain 1, which is a little harder when you're doing chains instead of stitches, so chain 2, and then go through, and then you grab your string. There's no slip knot or anything. This is why I like to do it this way a little bit better. And then I just kind of finish it off, just like that. And now I have my new color. You can do it either way. It doesn't really matter. This way actually works a little bit better when you're doing the stitches, but since it's a chain, it's a little different. Anyway, so now we're going to go to the next row. So we're going to chain 2. And if you did it the second way, you can, like I said in the last row, you can slip stitch into the chain, or you can turn it. I will do, since the last time I turned it, I will do the slip stitch way. So we're going to slip stitch and then slip stitch in that chain. One reason why I don't like doing this, it makes it a little bit bulkier, and like if you have the color changes here, it makes it a little more noticeable, especially if you're doing bright colors like I am. But it's all personal choice. So you can either do it that way, or you can just completely just turn your project the other way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do basically the same thing we've been doing. So 1, oops, sometimes that happens. You grab your loose string instead of your long string. My bad, guys. Let's just undo it. Push that through. See, even somebody who does this for a living has trouble sometimes. I'm just going to do it the other way real quick. Alright, so just so there's not so much strings in the video in the way. So chain 2. Now remember that counts as a double crochet, so that is 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 3 double crochets. Now in the side pieces, unlike the corners, you're only going to do it once. So we're going to do 3 double crochets in this one, 3 double crochets in this one, and then just do the 2 3 double crochets in this one with the chain 3 on every corner, and then you do the chain 2 between. Like I said, to make it easier, just remember whenever you're going across 3 stitches, you will always do a chain 2. Now we're going to do the corner. Just like last 2 previous rows, it's 3. Hold on, sorry, my yarn's kind of not coming out of the ball correctly. So 2 and 3. I know my colors are a little whack, but I just thought it'd be fun to use it today. I'm just using the white just to show how to switch colors. Anyway, so now we're on a corner piece. Remember, when we're in a chain 3 space, we make another chain 3 space. So 1, 2, 3, and then we do 3 double crochets. So that's 2, and that's 3, just as so. And now, since we're going over 3 double crochets, and we're doing a straight edge side, so we do 2, just 2. And then in this space, since we're on the straight edge side, another way to think of it, right below, see, you got your 3 double crochets, and like here you can tell it's your corners. Just trying to give little tips to make it a little easier, trying to tips I wish I probably would have realized or somebody would have told me when I was learning, because I would mess up here and put too much here and wouldn't do this right, and it didn't look good. So 3 double crochets in that chain 2 space. As you can tell, there is a pattern going. The bigger you get, you can either stop after this row, you can stop after the previous row, or you can add another row, or you can literally just keep going around till it's a big giant blanket. Yeah, it's really up to you how you want to do it. And so now we're in a corner piece. So we do 1, 2, and 3. Oh, my yarn's starting to tighten up. I need to undo it. So I was a little unprepared a little bit today. Alright. Oh no. What's going on? Okay. Alright, so now we're in the chain 3 space. So that means we gotta make a chain 3. And then do it again. I will have another video. This video is actually getting a lot longer than I was hoping for. But I will make another video on how to make your squares, like connect them to make it into one big blanket. But, you know, I would suggest just making a whole bunch of the squares. Just keep practicing, find the color pattern you want to do. Figure out the design. If you're going to just do a continuous blanket, which means you just keep going and, you know, you just keep doing this and this and this until it gets bigger. You don't, you know, make little squares. You just make it one big giant square. Then that video you won't need that video. But I will have another one on when you have all the squares that you want to put them together to make it into a blanket. But it's good to have. I mean, you're going to need a lot of squares depending on what you, how big you want your project, how the size hook you use, how big you made your square. There are many different factors in it. That's what's so fun about this pattern. You don't even need to make blankets out of it. You can make clothes out of it. You can make purses. You can make table runners. I mean, pot holders. There's so much you can do with this pattern, and it's really simple. It's, you know, pretty easy beginner pattern, and once you finally understand how to do it, I mean, it just kind of, you can watch TV and it just flows through your fingers. So we're going to finish this row off real quick with you, and then I'm going to explain. If you want to continue going, most people stop after about 3 rows. That's about the typical, but it doesn't have to be. Like, it's your project, it's your hobby. You can do whatever you want to it. You don't need to conform to society. 1, 2, 3. Finish this off with y'all real quick. I'm sorry this video is long. I wanted to work the project with y'all because granny squares at the beginning could be kind of complicated. So I thought it'd be easier if y'all worked with me the whole thing instead of just cutting the camera to the ends like most videos do, and even I've done. Okay, so now we're at the end. We slip stitched it. Now you can cut it off here. As you can see, you have your granny square. You know, just cut your screen off. I'm not going to cut it right now. But if you do, you just cut it. And then what you do at your ends is you can, this is called a yarn needle. Sorry. I do have a video that teaches a little more in depth in it, how to weave in your ends. But you just want to stick it through there. And then you basically want to go and then just push it through just like that, and just go around just like that. I go around all the way just to make sure it's in there. And then what I do, you don't have to do this, is I like to skip over. You see how this is where my yarn is coming from? You want to skip over so it wraps around it and go through that next one. I feel like this kind of gives it a little more of a security, if you will, and then I just go back through it just so. Then I get my scissors. What I like to do too is I like to pull the string out a little bit so it tightens the project. So then you cut it, because see, you have this little piece here, but when you pull it tighter, then when you loosen it, it pulls it and it hides it. So just look at that. Oh, it's gone. So you can do that with the rest. Make a whole bunch of different squares and just keep going around and around, or, you know, different things you could do. Well, I hope you like my video. Please show me y'all's projects. Add me on Facebook, Panda Crochet. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Happy crocheting. Thank you.